This is the greatest lesson for parents. The precious jewel of having children is to understand that they come here to teach you how to be. And you will see most parents do not accept their children for who it is they are. I show parents that the reason they can't do this is because they haven't accepted themselves. The child is like, hey, see me. And all they see reflected back is the parent's ideation of what they should be. Then the kid will create something to push you away. They'll either slam the door, they'll create the defense, they'll move to China to go, okay, back off now. I need to find who it is I am. Or they will wallow in an addiction because you don't know your boundary, right, as a parent. So we've all inherited so much baggage, from culture and from unconscious parents and their ancestors. And as a result, we grow into these legacies without ever questioning, how do they work for me? Who am I in all of this? And what is my truth in all of this? So we live off prescriptive checklists and believe that if we don't follow that checklist, then we are somehow lesser than. And when we do this with a child who's come into this world with a throbbing spirit, desirous of kind of figuring it out, and we've kind of already ruined that chance by, here's the checklist. This is what I believe is success and failure and beauty and achievement. And now follow my way or you're already an outcast in my eyes. So the process of consciousness in parenting mandates that the parent not hand over that prescription. And in order for the parent to not hand that over means that they have had to come to let go of that prescription themselves. They've had to somehow deconstruct their own emotional legacies and find their own truth so that they can then unleash it in their child. I did not want to see this. This is not a convenient truth to tell the parent that they have to fix themselves. The last thing a parent, because we're very defensive and we always believe we're right, and this is our one chance to show the world that we got it right, we're good enough, our children. And now being told that it is not the child and it's all you, and there's something you need to look at is threatening for the parent. It's threatening for anyone. No one wants to look in the mirror, correct? So now to be asked to look in the mirror in the most intimate, profound experience, relationship of your life is deeply ominous for a parent. It takes a lot of courage. But when I came upon it is as a therapist working with family after family and observing that here were parents who had completed the checklist. They had financial success. They had emotional longevity in long-term relationships. They had arrived. And yet there was a deep dysfunction or deep disconnection between themselves and their children. So that led me to be curious, well, what is it? If it isn't what we think it is, success, money, marriage, stability, maturity, then what is it? And I began to see that it's this thing that I call consciousness, which is really the parent's inability to realize that there's this thing called conditioning that obscures the ability to see the child for who it is. So because we've been conditioned, we don't even know we're so conditioned. Conditioned by our own childhood, by the unconsciousness of our parents. We're conditioned by culture in terms of norms, what is right. They've not been aware, they've not been attuned, they've not been aligned, they've just been doing what they were told was the right way to live. But what this does, this immediate placement of a way to be, obscures the ability for the child to develop their way, right? They never get to figure out who it is they are. They never hear the soul calling from within. They never hear the beat of their own essence. They just come to be herded into cattle. And this is where there's a disconnect because the child is like, hey, see me. And all they see reflected back is the parent's ideation of what they should be. And then the abyss between who the child believes they are and who they feel they should be grows wider. So you have, in adulthood, you see all grown-up children walking around lost and aimless, finding who it is they are. Why is it that you're doing this show? To help children, grown children, recover what they once had. And that's a tragedy, right? Because they had it. We all had it once. So what happens? What happens is that the parent, because of their unconsciousness and their being, completely overwhelmed by conditioning, pluck the child's essence out and shove all this unconscious garbage in, which has never been deconstructed. And they tell the child how to be. then the child has to go through all their life and then one day have an epiphany or be vomiting on a bathroom floor, overdose, that they begin to say, now I need to find who it is I am.
Right.
And that's this endless cycle. We're all on it. We're all reading my books and watching your shows to recover from the parenting we received.
What is it that makes them cling so hard? And then how do you help them through it?
It's really tricky, from green beans to having sex too young. It's knowing where that line is, But it's the same thing, though. It's what's your stance as a parent? Can I shove those green beans down? Can I stop my kid from having sex? Like, what is my jurisdiction?
Right.
What is that sovereign line? It's really tough. And the beauty of life, though, is that there is no line in stone. Most of it is in sand. And it's uncomfortable. Life is this eternal dance between the knowing and the not knowing, between the possessing and complete non-possession, between the doing and the non-doing. Isn't life constantly the art of this? No more do you see it, played out than in the parent-child relationship. The child is asking you, guide me, control me, I don't know how to do it. And you're like, yeah, I'll do it, I'll help you, I'll show you. But then you suddenly reach a line where the child can't do it and can't do it your way. So now you have to back off. Then you go in and then you have to back off. You have to be there, everything. You have to provide, care for, and give everything, but you can't really own them. It's this constant dance between stepping into the doing and the ego of it and your. Role as a parent, to stepping completely out of it, to understanding that your children are here ultimately to be their own sovereign beings. So you can try and pretend and identify with the role, but ultimately they're their own person. So and then you back off. You go close and then you have to back off. And if you don't, and you ramrod into your child because you don't see the line, no parent sees the line. You missed the line. The line was like way back. You should have stopped way back 3 years ago, right? But you kept going. Then the kid will create something to push you away. They'll either slam the door, they'll create the defense, they'll move to China, they'll do something to go, okay, back off now. I need to find who it is I am. Or they will wallow in an addiction because they don't know where to go. Because you don't know your boundary, right, as a parent. Conscious parenting is about being attuned to who your child is at the stage they're in. So it does require knowing some psychology. And it does require knowing developmentally where your child is. I always say parents become parents, they don't take a single psychology course. They don't understand development. How is that possible? There needs to be some license, no, don't you think? Like something, some qualifying exam. Horniness cannot be the only, like I was in love. No, that can't be a qualifier for raising a child. being attuned to who your child is at their stage of development, understanding their brain, and then giving the input that's needed, of course, right? You do have a bedtime, right? You do aim for a bedtime, but you don't aim for a bedtime that's 7:34, right? You aim for a bedtime that's between 7:30 and 9. You're working with someone who's infinitely malleable, and you're not working with a soldier or a puppet. So, but on the other hand, you do have to have a bedtime. So you understand what I'm saying? It's playing the dance of both. You create an inbuilt structure in your life, but you also don't go crazy and drive your kid nuts because now it's 8:05 and bedtime was supposed to be 7:30, right? You do it with the art of balancing the doing with the being. And ultimately being, as in connecting to the child, must triumph. So all too often you'll see parenting is all about the doing, all about the commands and the controls and the directives, because we feel comfortable in the knowing. But really the precious jewel of having children is to understand that they come here to teach you how to be, especially young children. They come here to teach you how to be in the present moment. And they ask you to shed your ideas of worth and identity and success. And they ask you to recognize, can you accept me for who it is I am? And you will see most parents do not accept their children for who it is they are, because they're not good enough or great enough or fabulous enough or not some accolade enough, not a degree enough. And then I show parents that the reason they can't do this, accept their child unequivocally for who it is they are, is because they haven't accepted themselves for who it is they are. My work seems to be about the parent-child relationship, but it's really about healing the child within the parent. And in that respect, it's for every human being.
I will agree.
Because every human being is a child. So it's in the under the umbrella and the guise of the parent wanting to pick up the book because it's about the child. But when they pick it up and they realize this is about how they have to yet confront who it is they truly are. So to your question, how do you develop the truest self? Well, most of us have been divorced from it. This is just the tragic truth. For the reasons I said, we've been given a prescription, we've been raised through a conditioned lens, not a lens that truly honors who it is we are. So in order to now recover that, we have to peel back the layers. We have to undo all that has been done to us. So we have to re-question all that we should have never been given answers to, and we should have been allowed to discover on our own, such as, who is God? What is God? What is religion? What is beauty? What is achievement? What is success? What is truth? Right? Those questions, those big life questions should have been led to us, not given to us. We should have been led to discover them. They should not have been given to us packaged. because maybe they don't work for us. And it is through the discovery of those answers that we discover who it is we are. And we discover our relationship with the universe. So we are robbing our children of this valuable process by handing them this list. All we need to do really is just to guide them. And the most essential thing we need to do is discover those answers for ourselves and value the sovereign right to muddle and fumble and stumble and mess up. Because when we value it and see how much it's given us, we let our children suffer. We let our children fumble because we know where it's going to take them, because we saw where it took us. This is the greatest lesson for parents, to realize the power of pain and our desire to fix it for our children and to control it, because we're trying to mitigate and control it for ourselves, but we've never been able to. But this is the universe's biggest lesson. You have to surrender. Life is pain. Life is unpredictable. It's a curveball. It's a crapshoot. It's some adventure. And if you don't live it, waking up every day saying, maybe this is the day I will fully...
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flies, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
We give it all up and change and start anew. We're so afraid to mold the skin. So we'd much rather live in the conformity of stagnancy. You know, as long as we remain the same, you know, it's much easier. But life is not that. And our children come kind of ready to be that ever morphing. You look at a child crying biggest tears one moment and then gleefully excited the next. They have the capacity to morph. We rob them of this capacity. We stagnate, we rigidify them. So we need to learn from them. They live in every moment present. And whatever the present moment asks, they engage. And then they move to the next moment, ready again, new, beginner's mind. You know, so all spiritual lessons of the mystics are ever present in this potential of this moment. You know, and our children show us that. We're just afraid. Pain is the greatest teacher. Doesn't mean you self-flagellate and self-inflict. It just means you don't hold yourself back in the fear of it. You just live fully.